are starting. Well, hello and welcome everybody. For those of you who just tuned into Horsepower Hour, I am Kodiak. I am joined by Marky Sports and Jeremy Sean as well on this special edition of NFL After Dark. Don't know how long we're going to go for, but for those of you who just tuned in, just curious to see what y'all have to say. If you are not a Broncos fan, we are curious to hear your thoughts on your team. We'll discuss the entire NFL. And overall, fellas, how you feeling?
I'm good, man. I got to bring out the Rodriguez Silver, bro.
Yeah, for real.
Got to bring the Rodriguez Silver out, pour it up.
I still am tweaking this.
Good, man. That was a fun show as always, bro.
That was a really fun show.
It makes Tuesdays amazing.
It does make Tuesdays amazing.
Gotta love it.
Absolutely.
Got to love it. Jeremy, how you feeling, bro?
I'm doing good.
How are you passing time in these in this slow off season?
Don't make fun because I love it, but I'm playing a lot of pickleball.
Are you nice, dude?
Oh yeah, dude.
Pickleball's fun, bro.
I'm deep in the streets of pickleball. I'm in the main streets now. Yeah, I finally got my wife into it. I've been playing for a couple years, and now she's got the bug, and so she's the one bringing it up to me. Are we playing tonight? I'm like,
you guys have any pickleball courts next to you?
Yeah, so we live in a neighborhood that has 5 dedicated courts. So we have neighbors that are all into it and kids the same age. And yeah, dude, it's just like, hey, going tonight, everybody can go. Kids can play. It's great. Yeah.
No newborn here, but
I was about to say, what? I was like, how did I not hear about this?
No newborn here. But regardless, thank you, I guess. I don't know. Is my wife pregnant? That'd be crazy if you knew that. But
yeah, that would be.
Yeah, no, pickleball's fun, man. My lady, she likes it a lot too. There's a place next to it that just opened up called the Pickler.
Yeah.
Apparently it's pretty cool. We got to go check it out. We've just been kind of busy.
Yeah, it's a big one.
You guys ever watch the show Stick on Apple TV?
Yep. With
dude, it's good.
Owen
Wilson? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
yeah, it's a good show. They played a little bit of pickleball, but it's a golf show. But
I know. I told them when that scene came up, I leaned over to my wife and I go, "They're gonna freaking suck, and nobody's gonna know except for people really into it." But they did a pretty good job editing that, actually. So it didn't that bad.
No, that was good. That was good.
I interact with you every day, Mark. So if you had a kid and I didn't know, I was gonna be like, "What?"
Yeah, what the fuck? No, it had me really confused, man. And I don't know if it might have worked, Wobika. It might have worked. You might have just gotten the conversation going, with just spreading the rumor, which I can appreciate.
Yeah.
But no newborn here. No kiddos yet, man. We're trying to enjoy ourselves a little bit still.
Thankfully, I don't have kids either. That'd be, no.
If I do, they're living in Vegas right now. So
yeah, literally.
They're not here.
I adopted my cat when I lived in Vegas, and I guess he's my kid.
There you go.
Yeah.
I have a 7-year-old, not a newborn anymore, but yeah.
It's awesome, dude.
It is.
It's a good age.
Oh, dude, so funny.
7's a good age, bro.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, my nephews. I have 2 nephews that are. I have 5 total, but I have 2 nephews that are 7 and 10. Dude, it's so fun now. They're always wanting to play football, and they know all about every player and shit. They're quizzing me. Oh. I'm gonna start using their questions on the Jeopardy, bro.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Was one of them the one who was on the Estimate hype train?
No.
I was didn't you hear something? Didn't one of your nephews say something about Audric Estimate? He saw your title Audric Estimate is the key to the Broncos or whatever. And
oh yeah. He was like, yeah, Estimate's a beast. Because, he knows that because he plays with him on Madden.
Mm.
So he's like, yeah, he's going to be a stud.
Well, anybody's good on Madden.
That's not, surprisingly, it's actually not true.
Well, yeah, I know that.
But, dude, Troy Franklin is so good on Madden. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude, he's, ridiculous. His stat, his not good, but I swear to God, all he does is catch the ball, man. Make plays. I'm all right, I dig that.
That's a harbinger of things to come.
Oh, we good?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Fucking
StreamYard sucks.
Yeah. Drew Sanders.
Yeah, Drew Sanders is a freaking beast in Madden too, man. He is. He's always making plays, bro.
Doesn't his dev trait always upgrade really, really quick?
Yeah, it does. I got to get that NCAA though, man. Tell us about NCAA, your experience with NCAA football. You said
Man, over the past year, I've just been so addicted to NCAA. Like this game literally revived my interest in gaming. I was so sick of Madden because for however many years, I was just sick of the lack of innovation. I was sick of, they kind of singled out, guys who just play offline and single player modes, and they put all their resources into Ultimate Team. They put all their marketing into Ultimate Team, like creators for Madden and EA videos in general really don't get invited to all the stuff like the creators of Ultimate Team do. And by the way, the guys who make Ultimate Team content on YouTube are so bad compared to the guys that make like Madden franchise content, like Bangle. He's so good. But yeah, no, NCAA is so much fun because you think about Madden, like 15, 20 years. Like if you get a guy, that's how long he starts for you for. And I think college, having guys, that you only start for like a year or two, I think it's perfect. I think it's like the perfect amount of time before all the turnover rolls in. And yeah, overall, the gameplay just feels better to me. Like Madden, I played Madden 25 at a friend's house. It just felt so slow. And that's why I just couldn't get into it. Even with
it sucks.
Even with all the like off-season additions that we had made, like I downloaded those updated rosters or whatever. And, I did like a Broncos thing because like it was fun, but like Madden is just so damn slow, and I love running the football in NCAA, and it's a lot more variety with the wide hashes and like the fun run scheming and all that.
Yeah, I gotta check it out, man. I think I'm gonna buy it. It drops tomorrow officially, right?
I think Thursday.
Thursday, the 10th. Yeah.
Pre-order bonus. Yes, Roan. Greg Jennings running to the end zone and putting the team on his back. Yes, that will always be a goated video.
Always. I put the team on my back, though. Yeah, what pisses me off about Madden too, man, is his stupid-ass head coach, Peter Gaffney. Why the hell is Peter Gaffney my head coach?
Oh, yeah, because
every single time.
Sean Payton's not in the game, right?
He is if you don't do franchise.
Huh?
Like, if you play online or just a regular game, like, you'll see Sean Payton. But for whatever reason, you get like the most random coaching staff on franchise. It's weird.
So I know Belichick also wasn't in the game for many years, and I think it's because like you have to be a part of the coaches union to do that. And I think Sean Payton left it once he became a part of broadcasting. So
is he just not in the game? Maybe. I mean,
I don't know. So
I feel like I remember seeing his name. Like
you probably saw his likeness, but I don't know if they have like his name in there. Like, because whenever you start a franchise, I know it shows Peter Gaffney as the Broncos head coach.
And it's a random dude.
Yeah, it's literally a random dude. My guess is it's one of the developers of Madden is my guess.
He's a jackass is what he is.
Yeah, I agree.
Pisses me off so much, dude. You have no idea. They're like, you can upgrade your coaching staff. I'm like, no, it's not even a real coaching staff. Why am I upgrade him for?
You're going to fire him.
Fuck that guy. Oh, man. Yeah, no, that's a goated video. One of the best moments just in NFL history is the Marshawn Lynch hold my dick. You know what I mean? The hold my dick. Yeah. I think it was the same guy.
Yeah.
Just crushed it.
Yeah, that was so
Benito gave a little shout out to Marshawn Lynch when he took one to the house last season.
Yeah, against the Colts, he got the pick six off AD Mitchell, and then he got flagged, but he did the hold my dick celebration running into
it's awesome. It's worth the penalty every time, bro.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Kind of annoying that when it is a fumble six and not a pick six, because it'd have been cool to have two of them, but
yeah. Anybody that says like anything about Benito last year, I'm like, no. He had two pick sixes because that wasn't a fumble.
Just because it's a lateral doesn't mean it's a fumble. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like. Yeah. Obika Jokic says Henry Ruggs comeback.
He is. There is reports that he's coming out of jail soon.
Is he going to be an Uber driver?
Want him?
He's been training.
I mean, the Chiefs probably, but who else?
Yeah, the Chiefs for sure. He's like, I mean, the Raiders would make sense. You know, it's crazy. I watched this podcast, the one with Ryan Clark. I don't know the name of it. Pretty good podcast. They'll talk with like current players. And I think Josh Jacobs was on it, and he was talking about Henry Ruggs and how he's known him for so long. And he's like, it's crazy because he's like, I've known a lot of dudes that like would get in trouble or make dumb decisions all the time. He was like, Henry Ruggs was literally like a perfect kid. Never got in trouble, never made dumb decisions. The one time he does that, it's like the worst decision of his life. It's just, it's crazy to think that, like, man, all it takes is one dumb decision. But when I heard that and you start hearing about his story, I mean, it's obviously awful, like what ended up happening, but I'd like to see him get another chance.
Yeah, especially if you hear that he's a good kid. Like,
yeah,
it's so easy just to lump, NFL player as did something stupid, so he's a piece of crap, and it's like, no, well,
yeah.
Like, there's no doubt in my mind if we would have been drafting in the Raiders position that year, that's who we were taking. I think.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have been in Vegas, so maybe he doesn't do that shit.
Right.
Vegas is a tough place for a young kid.
It's like a sliding door situation of like what happens with people's lives, just depending on simple things like that. Because I honestly think Elway would have taken Ruggs for sure.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, like, does that maybe not happen if he's in Vegas? I don't know, because that happened at Topgolf, like the whole incident where he had 18 shots and then drove. That happened at Topgolf, and we have 2 here. So
yeah, no, for sure. But you got to think, man, like the Vegas Strip, the energy of Vegas. Like, dude, I've been there so many times, and I've never made good decisions in Vegas.
I mean, I didn't make bad decisions. I didn't do anything that Henry Ruggs did, and I was the same age as he was.
Did you live on the Strip or near the Strip?
No, I lived 50 minutes away west.
Because I think a lot of it too is like it's like one road. I mean, listen, I'm not like justifying it, but like if I took 18 shots and drove home from Topgolf to my house, I would have a much higher chance of at least making it home or not killing somebody than if I was driving on the Strip in Vegas.
Right. It's a little bit different driving down the Strip in Vegas than it is driving down.
Like I'm hitting some
Parker.
Well,
it's like it's not the same.
Yeah.
I know the exact road that he was like doing it on. First of all, if he had done it on the highway, I think he could have gotten away with it, because the 215, that highway that like leads to all the major exits in Vegas, that one is like known for being really high speed. Like people drive really, really fast on that one. There's another one called I-15, but he was driving down this road called I think it was Spring Valley Boulevard, which I know exactly where that is, and it is kind of a straight shot. Like roads in Vegas are laid out very, very well. They're all like pretty standard. Like there's not a lot of whatever. So he was on like a straight shot on a suburban road, and in the suburbs, people in Vegas drive fast. I think part of it is because dick measuring contest, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. People feel the need to drive faster than everybody else to prove that, oh, look at me, look at my car, whatever. But I don't know.
They're trying to get to the Rhino, bro.
Yeah, I literally. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but
it's interesting.
Either way, no.
I mean, he's young enough that if he could still have, I could see it. If he gets a chance, I could see it happening.
But like, if you're the victim's family, how are you going to feel when you see Henry Ruggs out there again? Like, that's just what it boils down to.
But it's like, what does that mean? Like, he did go to jail. It's not like he didn't say, he made a mistake. I think he
went to jail, but way, way, way less than any regular person would have gone for. Like, if you hit someone with a car, I don't know how many years that is. I can't imagine it's been 4 years since that happened now, right? And he hasn't been in prison that whole time. I think he's been on probation or parole or something. So, but either way, yeah, no, I don't think he should get another shot in the NFL, but he probably will.
Yeah, I mean, I always go back and forth because it's like, you're right. Was it enough time? Does he deserve another shot in the league? Who's to say? Who's to say?
Why does he get a chance to be like any other job, but he's not allowed to do that job?
Yeah,
just because we like it.
Because it's a high-paying job.
Because it's high-paying. Yeah. Like I don't see how there's you can really distinguish that.
Yeah. Well,
another guy who shouldn't get a chance.
Another guy who shouldn't get another chance, Ray Rice. Yeah, he probably shouldn't get another chance either. So.
Yeah. Well, it sounds really fucked up, but like I feel like what Ray Rice did was way worse.
Yeah,
even though he didn't kill somebody, right? I get it, like, but you have so. I mean, I guess I should probably not say you have so much more control because you kind of don't. I guess in both. I mean, but yeah, to knock a lady out like that in an elevator, is crazy.
Yeah.
Like
OG
getting really drunk and blacked out and not knowing what the hell you're doing, get into a car accident is awful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But there's something about like when you see, a grown man put his hands on a woman like that, like in such a vulnerable kind of power type of thing. I don't know. It drives me. I feel like that's always going to be worse to me. Shows a lot more about your character.
How much of a difference does that video make though if it was audio? Because I would have loved to hear what the preceding conversation was before that moment. Just curious.
Yeah.
You know? Like in the words of
like,
Bill
what if she
Burr,
said some outlandish
That's what I'm
shit, and then you're
saying.
like, "Oh, all right."
That's what I'm saying. Bill Burr like had a funny bit where he said every butt I'll clean it up, but every butt kicking doesn't just fall out of the sky. Like
Yeah.
there had to have been
Yeah.
something going on before that. I'm not saying he should have done that, but it's,
No,
who
never.
knows.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should get off the rails.
Yeah.
But yeah, that 4th and 23 will always be something that Ray Rice remembered for, man.
Yeah, he was
That not gonna
really
change.
good. Like when
Oh,
I
he was
first
so
started
good.
following the NFL, he was like the dude. Him and Maurice Jones-Drew. Like
I mean, honestly, RJ Harvey was one of my comps. Like
Yeah.
such a similar skill set, size, everything.
their
Hopefully he doesn't
bodies
knock a
look-
chick out, but
their
Punching
bodies
power.
look similar, so that tracks.
They do. Yeah, they're short and thick.
short and stout, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Big
Oh.
E saying good morning. So where are you at, Big E? Are you East Coast now? I guess it's 10.
I'm impressed he's still alive.
Yeah.
He got his talk to text. He got it on point.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He got it figured out. But nah, man. Yeah,
Oh,
I
West
don't
Virginia,
know.
Nice.
West Virginia,
Take me home, country roads.
love
I
it.
like it.
I wonder if Big U went to the little retreat they had out there. The Broncos
yeah.
went.
Oh yeah,
Maybe he's sneaking through the back and taking
The Greenbrier.
videos and shit.
the Greenbrier. Did you hear that was like not popular with the players at all?
I heard it was kind of like mixed because there was like nothing to do, and it was during that storm, so it was like really nothing to do. But
Yeah.
hey, what-
Yeah.
you got two
I feel
wins
like
out of it.
it was one of those where the players were probably like, "Yo, this sucks. This place is like weird as shit," but it like ended up being really good for the team.
Yeah, I mean, they won 2 games. They beat the brakes off of Tampa when they had just beaten Detroit, and then they won that ugly, ugly game against the Jets.
Yeah.
That honestly was one of my favorite games from last year, honestly.
Yeah, it was
That-
crazy.
That one pass.
I remember it too. It was like everyone was talking. Justin Sternad is getting the start after Alex Singleton went on IR, and it was like, how is he going to play? First play of the game, he gets a sack.
Stack, yeah.
You're like, damn, that's cool. That worked out well.
Everyone's like, the only thing that drove me nuts about that game was like, that was a nationally televised game, and everyone's like, I knew Bo Nix sucked, and I was like,
He can't
can
throw
you
the ball when it's wet.
yeah, and it's like, can you see that Aaron Rodgers, who's going to the Hall of Fame, can't throw it either? Like,
Yeah,
hello.
there was something going on. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
he played at fucking Oregon, bro. Like, you think he's never played in rain? Come on.
Right. He's got big hands too. Doesn't fumble. Like, what are we
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how
Eli-
bad you know the storm was.
Eli, had we lost, I would agree with you. Worst game ever. But since we won and came out on top,
Thank you, Greg Zerline, baby. Sent
Oh
us to
my
the
God.
playoffs.
when he missed that field goal, I jumped probably 30 feet in the air. I was working that day. Like, it was one of the few Sundays that I unfortunately did not get off last year. I ran to the bar next door to my restaurant just to watch the field goal. And then I see him miss it. Then everybody's just going ballistic.
Yeah, that was a
Crazy.
good
10-9. 10-9 shootout, baby.
Yeah. But since we absolutely put the clamps on Rodgers, I'll say that despite the weather, our defense did great, and we showed the NFL world that Rodgers was done. Bo Nix gets a pass. Because
for
I'm a
sure.
homer, and I look at these through orange and blue glasses.
Well, I mean, 60 yards, bro. Bo Nix had 60 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That was the Hackett revenge.
Cortland Sutton had 60 yards receiving.
That's right.
I remember, weren't they planning on Bidet being like a huge part of the game plan too? And then he broke his back on the first
Broke his
play.
back.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then didn't come back until the playoff game.
Yeah. 1 carry. And honestly, that was probably Javante's best game. He was awesome that game. In the second half, he was really solid. He started getting things cooking, and because we had no choice, we just kept giving him the ball. Eventually, he started kind of finding a little bit of a groove. Yeah, and then it was like all weird again the following week.
That leads to a good question. What was each one of your guys' favorite games of last year?
I think mine was the Cleveland game, bro. That game was so fun.
Back and forth.
It was just a fun game. Like
It was.
And it was cool to be on primetime and finally like put together a fun game. We ended up doing the same versus the Bengals. Obviously, we lost that one, but it was just nice to show everybody else that doesn't really watch Bronco football that like we're not bad and boring. You know, even if we're gonna have games where we lose, like we're gonna be very entertaining. And so that was cool. That was a fun game.
Yeah. I would have said Cleveland too, but another game I was at, I happened to be at Cleveland, luckily, but I was at the Colts game too. You know, that was our biggest game in God knows how long because we were neck and neck with the Colts heading into that week. And then, you know, it felt like after Jonathan Taylor had dropped the football, it felt like you could feel the entire energy of the stadium changing. And the fact that we won that game with a final score of 31-13 is just nuts to me, considering how poorly we played for most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially early. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. I think too with the Cleveland game, like the biggest. I remember me. It was right down here where I'm sitting just in front watching the TV, and I remember just like when Bo Nix hit Marvin Mims on that absolute dot, I was just like, that was even my like middle finger to everybody. Like, conversation's over. I don't want to hear none of this. Boy, he can't throw the ball deep. Like it doesn't get much prettier than that. And for everyone to see that, it was like, it just felt so good because it's like all like, Jeremy, how long have we been talking about it for, bro? Like it seemed like a year prior to that.
Yeah.
All we were trying to do is tell people, guys, Bo Nix's arm strength is it's 0% a problem.
Not a thing, yeah.
And yeah, that was awesome. And then the fact that it was to Mims, who I was like, you know, my love affair with Mims. Love me some Marvin. So.
And the fact that he did it while Troy Aikman was talking crap. Remember that? Because he's just like, he's moving around way too much. I don't know. He's doing a lot of unnecessary move. Oh.
And then all of a sudden, what's his name? Buck or whatever. What's his first name?
Joe Buck.
Joe Buck. Yeah, he was like, he's got Mims. He's gone.
He's gone.
Like he caught the ball at like the 50. He's gone.
And you hear Troy Aikman go, ho ho. Like,
yeah, he's like, holy shit. What the hell was that?
You know what's funny? From my point of view in the stadium, it looked like it got intercepted. And then 2 seconds later, I'm like, wait. Oh, let's go.
Yeah, the crowd was
I don't even know. Like, I still think to this day on NFL, I was on the NFL Plus trying to go back and look at, I think, I don't know if you can see the end zone view.
Yeah, there is an end zone view.
Is there one now? Because I know for a while that one got cut off, and then the touchdown pass in the playoff game, same thing.
Oh yeah,
I've seen it.
Got cut off.
But
I've seen thousands of angles of that.
That end zone. I mean, dude, it's like such a thing of beauty, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get any better.
Yeah, no, that was. I remember the throw to Vele he had earlier in the season where he threaded the needle between like 3 defenders. That was kind of the one where people were like, "Oh, that proves like you can't talk about his arm strength." Like that was just like a straight dot. But then the Marvin Mims one was like, even raised the bar even more because that was just like, if it was a split second difference, it's getting knocked down at least. But it was just he just 3-step torque, and it was just like, man, gone.
Yeah, I mean, even in that Jets game, like the one really good throw that stood out to me, I remember it was like, man, can you throw in the rain? He just steps up on like 3rd down, hits a banger to Sutton, and you're like, all right, that was huge.
Dagger that it was like he's throwing that blind too. Like there's when he lets that ball go, Sutton is not open at all.
Yeah. When he gets like when he started to figure out his footwork, dude was just absolutely threading. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, 2 of my favorite games from last year that like I wouldn't put them like they weren't like exciting like emotionally, or anything like that. But against Carolina and Atlanta, anytime Bo Nix dropped back, I was like, all right, this is completed. This is getting like 10, 15 yards. And that was amazing.
That Atlanta game was just a clinic. And
Yeah.
I knew it from the second he hit the first pass. I was like, oh, he's on. Because the throw is so good on the sideline to Court. And I was like, oh, yep. All right, this is going to be a good day. I really enjoyed, personally, the Raiders in the first throwback game, just because I was, like we've talked about it before, I was in Mexico, and there was Raider fans all around, and it was just like the rest of my trip is going to be dictated on the outcome of this football game, because it's just not going to hit the same if we lose this game, especially in the throwbacks and the way it started. And then PS2 takes it to the house, and old Gardner Minshew gets absolutely pancaked, and then we ended up blowing him out. That just needed to happen, especially with the Raiders. Like, we hadn't beat the Raiders in a long time before that, so that was a really good one. And then that Tampa game was really nice too, because Tampa was very good, and our defense was really swarming Baker, and it was just a good performance all the way around.
Yeah. I knew we got a good draw last year with the NFC South, because I knew Sean Payton was going to turn up for those games, especially Atlanta.
Yeah.
I mean, were any of them even close?
No.
No. We smashed the shit out of the NFC South.
Absolutely killed them.
We ended Kirk Cousins' career.
Even in that New Orleans game where everybody focused on that one pass where Bo like threw it in between two of our receivers, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, can you? When's the last time you?" It's like even that game wasn't even close.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What do you guys think of this? I got someone coming at me.
Yeah, I saw that. I think at this point there's a higher chance Singleton doesn't make this team than he does. It doesn't make any sense why you would think that isn't getting cut. You're tweaking. There's a lot more reasons to cut him than there's not.
I know. That's the thing, is that I feel like, you just got to look at this from a bigger lens. Like, I think that's something that Mark does a really, really good job of, and he did that during draft season when he was like, not sure about this whole Omarion Hampton to the Broncos thing at number 20. But, it's just the reality of the situation. Like, history is just not on his side. He's a 31-year-old inside linebacker coming off an ACL tear, and overall, he just hasn't played in a long time. And I think something really working against him is he tore it really early last year, so he's had a long time away from football. And you see guys like Calvin Ridley, like, who got suspended for a year, like, missing that much football.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just not really a good thing. So, yeah, overall, I just think, man, even though he's like a heart and soul guy, yeah, I don't know. I think it's more likely he gets cut than it is he wins inside linebacker too. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts, both of you.
In my opinion, it's just you're gonna know within the first week or two.
Yep.
If he looks good, he's not getting cut, and if he doesn't look the same, then he might, and he probably will. It's just
what if he looks good and Drew Sanders looks just as good?
I don't think they would do it.
But yeah, I don't think they would cut him in that case. But obviously, Sanders would start because they have real investment in Sanders.
That's the best case scenario.
And
but.
I think regardless, if Sanders plays, even if he looks a little bit worse than Singleton, but it's like fairly close. If Sanders is starting, Singleton's not going to be on this team. It doesn't make any sense because, he's a $7 million cap hit. You cut him, you save. You're at 5.6. Doesn't seem like a whole lot. You got to re-sign Sutton. You got to re-sign Zach Allen. You got to re-sign Benito. That money can go a long way into getting one of those deals done. So yeah, I don't see a situation. I love Alex Singleton. I'd be totally fine with him being the starter, but yeah, I would be pretty surprised at this point. I think it's a lot like Tim Patrick, but the difference is Tim Patrick, when we cut him, we saved no money. We just flat out cut him and ate the dead money. This is one of those where we can actually save money that can go towards a lot of other assets at any time.
I think it's 50% how he looks and 50% how the other guys look. I mean, you're not going to do it if the other guys don't look good, and you're not going to do it if he looks really good. So
yeah,
it's just it just depends. It's not I mean, it's a good talking point because it's like, don't be shocked if this happens because it could very, very well happen.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
Exactly.
No,
but
I mean, Andy makes a good point, dude. Like we got a lot of intriguing young dudes. I mean, you're definitely not going to like put your full hopes in them, but you got Lavelle Bailey and Kareem Reed who are going to be intriguing if they can play teams, and then you've got Justin Sternad for another year that's proven. If he needs to come in and start a few games, he can do it.
But everybody remembers Jonas Griffin. Everybody remembers all these guys that were supposed to be the next guy, and it just didn't end up happening. So if Singleton looks good, he is way more trusted, and you know what you're going to get than a lot of like these other guys. So that's why you would keep him. And this defense is there's no holes.
There's no holes. No.
So if you create, that's the only ways you could. If you created a hole, if he looks good, and then you like, oh, we could trade him or get rid of him or whatever, because these other guys look pretty good, and then all of a sudden Greenlaw goes down, or he's coming. That's another factor is Greenlaw's coming off an injury too.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to be like, oh my gosh, we have Singleton and Greenlaw, and then all of a sudden you have Bailey and Sternad. And then they're just picking on like the middle of your defense. So
I think we'll see a lot more looks that Vance was running last year in the red zone, where he would like take a linebacker off, put Devin Key in, which hopefully it's not Devin Key that he's putting in. But where you put an extra DB in there with Jade Barron, with Talanoa Hufanga, their versatility. I mean, you can switch up a lot and do a lot more of that too. Where if you want, more. Smaller dudes that are running around, you can do it as well next to Greenlaw. But yeah, you make a good point because behind Greenlaw, it's very thin. Yeah. And Drew Sanders has a hell of an injury history himself. Yep. So there's definitely a lot to understand. But also, at the end of camps, bro, every single year, there's always a veteran linebacker that gets cut because they're a cap relief or something, and that you can end up picking up and feeling like, hey, at least we got somebody that can play some snaps. We think we picked up 2 last year. Mm-hmm. And that was like in week 4. So there's always those guys too. Veteran solid dudes. But yeah, hopefully we don't have to worry too much about Greenlaw missing time, because similar to tight end, that's it. After that, you're like, ooh, you don't really have too much.
I do not want this Greenlaw injury to be one of those ones where it's like, oh, he'll be ready for camp, and then it's like, oh, well, he's not out there. He's not out there again.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll be ready by the beginning of the season. Oh, well, he'll be ready by week 4. It's like,
yeah, I know.
Please don't do that.
The thing that makes me feel fine about that is Greenlaw played last year, and when he played in that one half, he played really, really well. So if he's good enough to play December, whatever it was, against the Rams, he's probably good enough to, like, I don't know. He's probably well recovered by this point. But no, I get it. Greenlaw's not a guarantee, especially coming off the injury that he had suffered. But the final 2 things I'll say about Singleton is I remember I'm mad at certain players. Like, I hold on to grudges against certain players. Like, you guys know it. I've brought it up this whole offseason on my channel, in our streams, just talking to you guys. Who have I been? Mark, okay, who are the 3 guys I've been most mad at this offseason? Or
PJ Locke.
Still lingering, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, PJ Locke for sure. Drake, not Drake Greenlaw, obviously. Alex Singleton.
You're getting there, but it was Cody Barton and
Cody Barton. Yeah, Cody
Justin
Barton.
Sternad and Cody Barton. Like, and they had good years last year, even though they were key liabilities at certain points. And even I can step back and say that, hey, compared to expectations, these guys both had really good years. But I've been mad at Alex Singleton for I don't know how long now, at least a year and a half, because when guys are liabilities, I don't forget it. Like, I remember the bad a lot more than the good. It's just human nature to do so. And, as mad as I am about PJ Locke, doing certain things last year, Sternad in key moments last year, being a key liability, I could not stand to look at Alex Singleton's face all last summer, all last draft cycle, all last free agency cycle, because in 2023 he sucked. Like, he was awful. Like, I remember watching all the film from that year and I was like, holy cow, this guy's horrible. And then I look at a Let's Talk Broncos article from Zach Seegers like a month ago talking about Alex Singleton. It was actually written last summer and published last summer. He said, In 2023, Alex Singleton was bottom 3 as far as inside linebackers with catches allowed, receptions allowed, touchdowns allowed. So, yeah, he was awful in 2023. And I don't think a lot of people recognize that. And a lot of people say, well, he's a good run defender or whatever, but he had the 8th worst missed tackle percentage in the NFL and the most missed tackles in the NFL in 2023. So the fact that he had a low batting average in that sense, that doesn't make me feel any better. And now he's just 31, like torn ACL. I just don't see a lot of reasons to keep him on this team. I really don't. I think Tim Patrick, there were more reasons to keep Tim Patrick last year on this team, and look what happened.
That was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree, man. It's because Alex Singleton is just such a likable guy. Like, I love his energy on the field. He's such a good interview.
I like
but
him.
The reality of it is he's really not that good of a player.
No. He's
really not. But at the point, like, we haven't had a good inside linebacker, since the Super Bowl year. So it was like we were kind of desperate. And, he's also like an undrafted guy. And then we signed him for a cheap contract. He's supposed to be a special teamer. And he kind of like exceeded expectations. But in the grand scheme of things, he's not really that good of a linebacker.
Well, he played great in 2022, the first year we picked him up. Like, he was part of the reason why, even though our offense was letting us down, our defense still kept us in games, even though we'd always lose. Yeah, so, like, that was my thing, is that he was good in 2022, and then 23, holy cow. And then last year, Zach Seegers also responded to one of my tweets where I said Singleton's going to get cut. And somebody had said, no. Our run defense was catastrophic without him. Then Zach Seegers goes, no. The Broncos' run defense, as far as EPA per play, was way better with Singleton out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Granted.
No, it's true. I mean, and he seems like somebody, like, if he's back to his normal self, I think he would be better as like the second linebacker, less responsibilities, schemed a certain way. Because like in 2022, I think we had Josie Jewell at the time still. And even though I wasn't really a big Josie Jewell fan, like he was the main linebacker. Mm-hmm. And so I think it made Alex Singleton's job easier. He started to struggle a lot more when like he was the main guy. So there's a little bit of optimism there, but yeah, and generally speaking, I mean, he's not even that special of a player. And $7 million is a lot, man. I mean, money talks. I don't care what nobody says. Like, it can go a long way. It can be the signing bonus difference that that allows for you to get a staple player to stay here for a long time. So.
Yep. I wouldn't be floored if Singleton was on this roster heading into week 1. I would be floored if they kept him at his current cap number heading into week 1. I'd be like, what are we doing?
I would be floored if he was on the team and not the bona fide starter next to Greenlaw at that cap number for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I could be like, if he's going to make the team, why would he take less?
Right.
He could just be like, cut me. I guess not really. Maybe he'll take like a little bit less of a hit, and because he only has 1.3 of it guaranteed. But does he want to call the Broncos bluff? Like I said, he's got to blow out the rest of the guys behind him, and then he has a leverage. But if it's close and the Broncos are like, hey man, we like you, you can be the starter, but you got to do it at this number. He might just be like either yes, take it, or no, and then the Broncos just move on and they're fine. So it's like, how much do you really love a player? If you're saying, hey, we love you, but at 50% of what you're making now, it's like you don't really love him then. Just move on.
Exactly.
It's better. Doesn't sour the relationship with anybody.
Mm-hmm. And heading into
it's a very tradable contract.
Yeah. Heading into training camp, Broncos country, I have not seen enough Drew Sanders love lately. So best case scenario for us is that Drew Sanders becomes what we all think he can be. Because, look at all the unforeseen development that's happened within this coaching staff, Think about all the guys that have taken big leaps forward when you didn't really expect them to. Like Wattenberg, center battle last year, and then ends up being the second best pass blocking center in the NFL according to PFF. Mm-hmm. Riley Moss, cornerback 2 battle into camp, completely nullifies those issues heading into like mid-season last year. Everyone was like, wow, I can't believe we found this dude.
Yeah.
So Drew Sanders, like, it is our ideal outcome for him to hit his ceiling, and I just really, really hope he gets the chance to do so. And I hope he looks really, really good in camp. Like, if I could choose one guy to have a great camp, it would be...
Yeah, I would agree.
This is a good segue for Eli. Like, if I could choose one guy to show out in training camp, it'd be Drew Sanders.
Yeah. I would agree, man. And health is the biggest thing. He's never had a healthy offseason. Not once. And he finally's got, like, a full offseason, knock on wood, so far, of being healthy. So if he can continue, he can just stay on the field, I think he's going to make a lot of strides. And he finally doesn't have, like, an identity crisis. He's got stupid talent.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like he was running in mud last year. He definitely should not have come back that early from the Achilles.
No,
Because
I'm astounded.
that was not normal Drew Sanders. But
No.
yeah, dude is a ridiculous athlete, and yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. I agree with you. I have a really weird feeling we're going to be making some late camp additions or moves for another linebacker.
Hmm.
You know,
Interesting.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
so
Do you think, in retrospect, at the time, I definitely think this cutting Tim Patrick was a huge mistake because we missed a lot of the stuff that he was bringing, especially when he went to Detroit and balled out. But in retrospect, it did give a lot of those young guys time to adjust and get them reps. And now that we're heading into season 2, was it the better move to move on from Tim Patrick?
1,000%. No, I mean 1,000%. And it's what I was saying at the time. And it's why I was kind of making the same argument with like Sutton. I was like, Sutton or Tim Patrick, like one of these guys has to go. Because I didn't think we were going to be a playoff team, but I was like, this is a crucial year. Like, you've got to see what you have in these young dudes. And you got Josh Reynolds taking up snaps for no reason. So I was like, you just got to see it. So I think in retrospect, yes. It should have been Little Jordan Humphrey, bro. That's who should have gotten cut, realistically. But in retrospect, yes, you make a good point, but it still sucks. Because I really love Tim Patrick too.
Yeah. I mean, those early games was like, oh man, we could really use a vet, like solid pass catcher right here. But
yeah, the reason I say no is because I think in the first, probably from like the week 1 to the midway point, we probably had the poorest wide receiver play in the league. Like, I'm not even joking. And yeah, a lot of that did turn around because we did give chances to guys like Valet and
Marvin
Franklin to come into their own, and like good on them for figuring it out towards the back half of the year. But man, oh man, like I don't know. I just think back to what I was saying in September, October. I was thinking, I cannot believe the lack of weapons we have. Like, that's just where my mind was at. So I think I would have kept Tim Patrick ultimately, even with the benefit of hindsight and knowing how those guys progressed in the second half of the year. I would have hoped to have kept Tim Patrick.
Yeah, it's a tough question because like I look at it, I said, because we made the playoffs still, and that's all. I just wanted to make the playoffs for a lot of reasons. Then I was fine with it. And I was like, all right, it all worked out. Like, we still made it. I think we still make the playoffs with Tim Patrick. I still think we lose in the first round with Tim Patrick. And it's also tough because we can't forget, like, even though, like, now that we know he played the whole season and he was healthy in Detroit, it makes that look a little bit like worse of a move. But he just he tore his ACL and then he tore his Achilles in back-to-back seasons. So you're like, I mean, is he really going to, everything was stacked against him. He was getting up there in age, and there was just a lot of that too. So it's like, I definitely understood the move at the time. And then, yeah, just like Kodiak said, in the first month, I was like, we could really use Tim Patrick. Then I kind of did forget about it a little bit though. But
yeah, same.
I totally understood both sides.
I think at the time it felt a little okay because of Josh Reynolds, and you're like, oh, well, that's the vet that you signed. That's going to be okay. And then that didn't end up panning out. So you ended up moving on from both Patrick and Reynolds. But like you said, you still made the playoffs. Both still had a great rookie season. My biggest thing was just support Bo. I so desperate for a franchise quarterback. Please do not ruin him. Do not give him in bad habits. Do not, help him as much as possible. But seeing it how it turned out and seeing how much Bo progressed, even without Reynolds and Patrick, I think going into year 2, I'm so glad that Vele and Franklin got the reps that they did, because I think that they can really hit the ground running now.
A lot of Tim Patrick trades. Quite a bit. So.
Yeah, but I don't know. That was interesting because I kind of forgot about that, honestly.
Right.
But my thing was if you're going to do that really early on in the offseason. So then you can.
That was the weird thing because
Yeah.
they redid the deal. They came up with an agreement, and even though like there was still going to be a lot of dead money, you're like, all right, that basically solidifies that he's going to make it, and then he didn't. So you're like, oh,
Well, remember the story I told you guys last week about the Mike Shanahan pulling Bubby Brister for Brian Greasy the night before the season starts, all that. It had, not obviously to that extent because it's not the quarterback, but it had those vibes where you're like, you're shuffling a big part of the deck here right before anybody's expecting it. I don't think anybody on the team was expecting it. And
Yeah.
I was like, please do not like throw everybody out. I've seen this happen before, and it just I didn't like it for that reason. Like, you're right. I wish they would have made the move, but it worked out.
And they were trying to get him back on the practice squad. I know they probably soured it. Like they soured the relationship, trying to trade him. I remember they were making a strong push to get him on the practice squad. He ends up going to Detroit's practice squad, which is like surprising because you're like, oh shit, you got a lot of people to compete with. But he ended up getting on the field. But that would have been ideal, like if we would have gotten him on the practice squad.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then he scored in the preseason game. He was like our go-to guy in the preseason, and I'm like, what? So like that's why it was like a shock to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't like,
Right.
I can look at it from a different lens and be like, all right, he was 30, 31. He had just torn his Achilles and ACL. Like, he's probably not an asset to this team anymore, quite frankly. But then when he has a good training camp and then does what he did in the preseason, and then Mike Klis is tweeting out saying, due to excellent depth, the Broncos have cut Tim Patrick.
Yeah. He's always trying to spin it, man, because he works for the team. Too.
I was just like, what? I was just like, yeah, due to great depth, tell me you're the mouthpiece without telling me you're the mouthpiece.
Right.
Yeah. I made a video about this earlier. I'm curious to get you guys' take. Would you take a flyer on Nyheim Hines?
No.
He's wanting to make a comeback after 2 years off with the ACL injury.
Didn't he tear his ACL jet skiing or something? Yeah. I remember that.
That's right.
Yeah. I think he'd be interesting, man. I think we should definitely bring him in. I mean, he's a pure third down back. It's like, you know what you're getting. But what I had realized is where I think he can give the best value is he's one of the best kick return men in the NFL. Like, he's elite at returning. And you put Marvin Mims and Nyheim Hines back there, damn. I mean, I'd like that combo. So, very, very low chance he's even going to get a look here. But why the hell not, man? I mean, never stop adding at positions like that. I mean, bring him in for a week. He looks like shit, then cut him,
Yeah.
Yep.
Doesn't never hurts to kick the tires.
But he can catch. I mean, he can catch the football out of the backfield. He could probably be a really good practice squad guy too. To be honest with you, like he'd probably be fine just chilling.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry for blue balling you, Eli, but we got sidetracked. What are some things we should be looking for as training camp approaches? Well, luckily, this is the first time in a long time where we don't have a question of how good of quarterback play are we going to get. So now I kind of forget. I forget what it's like to go into a training camp not having every discussion centered around your quarterback.
Yeah.
So curious.
Today's a Zach Wilson day. Today's a Jarrett Stidham day. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. Thank God that's over.
Yeah.
Dude, the Teddy Bridgewater Drew Lock days were the worst.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
For
Don't even
me,
get started.
my number one going into training camp, what I'm going to be watching is RJ Harvey. That's the one position where I'm just like, I just want to see. I just want to see how he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people I'm excited to watch in this training camp. Evan Ingram, Pat Bryant, like there's a lot of guys, both pass rushers. I mean, there's a lot of different people, Jonah Ellis, but even Crawshaw and Loner, like I'm interested to see how they're looking. But RJ Harvey, that's the number one for me. Like, I just want it. I just think he's dynamic. I was pumped that we drafted him. And they're running on air, you don't know, but from all the things you heard from, OTAs is that it just looks different with him. So
He looks different, bro.
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he is built like, holy hell, he's a big dude. Yeah, I know. I think The running back battle is going to be amazing to watch. Inside linebacker we talked about, wide receiver too. That's going to be one of the more intriguing ones.
Yep.
How does Jahdae Barron look, and where are they using him? Right, like what's their plan with Jahdae Barron, and then a lot of the depth. I mean, there's going to be a lot of depth. Like this is good. I always like the preseason. I'm kind of a sucker for it. I like to watch a lot of the deep guys, but this one's going to be really fun this year.
Yeah,
you're gonna get to see, like, because we finally have good depth on this team, which has been lacking for a while. So you're gonna finally get a chance to see like legit competition in the preseason as well. So
Well, there's like two waves of it too, because the free agents that we signed, all three of the big ones, you're like, yeah, I definitely want to watch all those guys: Evan Ingram, Hufanga, and Greenlaw. All three of those guys. It's like,
Yeah.
let me just watch those guys. But then the draft class was such like an intriguing one that I'm like, I want to watch all those guys too. So it's one of those where like the offensive line, I think we kind of know where we're at. I mean, if you want to throw a couple names into the offensive line, like Clay Webb, maybe I would want to see, and Palczewski, and maybe some other people like that. But for the main, we know pretty much who the starting five is going to probably be on that. Bo, we know he's going to get every rep. I want to see, from all the talk from OTAs, is like Bo just looked so in command. And I think people forget, like, there was the training camp of like, it's Jarrett Stidham day, it's Bo Nix day, whatever. He didn't get the full reps, and he didn't get a full off season.
No.
I mean, he was preparing for a draft. He wasn't preparing for a team all off season. So I think those are obviously things are going to want to watch, but there's just so many, like, the wide receiver room is going to be super interesting. I have no clue how that's going to shake out at all. I really don't. And the defense is so stacked that it's just like, how fast will these guys gel? And I think it will be fast. But like, you do have new guys at key positions. So
yeah, and if Bo looks good in camp against this defense, man, that's gonna be fun.
right,
This defense is gonna be flying around.
Yeah.
If the offense like can take some steps forward, and like, because I remember I watched an interview with Brandon Marshall like I think 3 weeks ago, and he was like, we kind of knew we were legit in training camp because like they were frustrating DT, Sanders, Peyton, and now that's like the same thing. Like, I think the offense is going to get a lot better because of what they have to go up against.
Yeah, but it's good. They're gonna have the rough days. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We got to be prepared for that.
Defense tends to be ahead of offense, especially early on. But
yeah, no doubt.
It's one of those things too. Like, I always, we were talking about playing pickleball or whatever earlier, but like sometimes when you're playing better competition, that's when you do get better. But there's also the chance of you getting like, am I not that good? Like, you losing some confidence if you're not winning battles day in and day out as well.
Yeah.
So there is kind of a line to that. So if it ends up being like, oh, the offense had a really good day and they won today. Oh, the defense came back, and that thing, I think that's probably best case scenario.
Yeah, it's healthy. I always say with camp, you just want to come out of it healthy, man. That's always the most important.
For sure.
But yeah, it's going to be fun. There's so many good storylines. Fantasy football talk. I love it, dude. I love it. You guys into fantasy?
yeah, of course, I'm in 42 leagues.
42 leagues?
Yeah, most of them are underdog like best ball, but
Oh my god.
I'm in 9 lineup leagues.
Bro.
Holy shit. I did 4 last year and I thought I was going to have an anxiety attack, bro.
And then I have 6
0.
dynasty leagues.
Damn. Yeah. All right, well, who's your 101, bro?
I think I go Jamar. Like, even though Saquon had the mega breakout last year, I tend to weigh towards the guy with just the elite quarterback. And, Saquon, obviously, you saw what he did last year. He was unfreaking believable with the Philadelphia Eagles. But my thing is, like, there's, like, when I'm deciding between a wide receiver or a running back really early on, like, we get league-winning running backs that just come out of nowhere pretty much every single year. Like, and you're just not getting a guy who can match Jamar Chase's production, in like the 9th round if you're going wide receiver. Meanwhile, you could pick up a guy, like, let's say something happens to Saquon, knock on wood. You could pick up a guy to replace him, and yeah, the other guy's not going to be as good as Saquon, but if you can still give you like 70% of his production, then I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm definitely not taking Saquon. You just look at the history of like when a guy leads, is the leader in points or has like a breakout season, they usually take a pretty significant step back, even though he technically wasn't RB1 last year. RB1 last year is my RB1, who I'd probably take at 1, and that's the boy Jahmyr Gibbs, one of my favorite players to watch. I fucking love that dude. He's just so damn good. I don't care if he splits time. He's proven he's elite when he splits time, and he's elite when he gets all the carries. He's involved in the pass game. I would probably take Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan for sure. I always lean towards backs. I get it. Like Jamar Chase is so good, but I lean towards in the top 3 or 4, like I guess maybe even top 5 picks. If there's who I think is going to be an elite running back, I'm always going to take the elite running back. Because yes, you can always find good running backs in the mid rounds, but you could always find like serviceable wide receivers throughout the draft. Guys that you need 10 points, they can get them for you. But I mean, Jamar Chase is fucking good too. Or Chinese Justin Jefferson, bro.
So when I first started playing fantasy like 5 years ago, like that was the thing. Everybody was like running back early because of the scarcity. There were still so few bell cows, but then you have the 2020 and 2021 draft that injects the NFL with Jefferson, Chase, and Lamb, and now you get these superhumans at wide receiver, and every wide receiver prospect is somehow better than the last. Even last year we had MHJ, Neighbors, and Odunze, and while all those guys didn't like break out, the wide receiver talent's just so insane now that I don't know where I was going with that, but
no, it's tough. I mean, because I that's why for me, like when you've got really good running backs and really good receivers, I love to be like pick 8 through 10.
Yeah,
like I think I was a 10th pick last year. Dude, my first 2 picks were so sick. It was awesome. I know I took Jahmyr Gibbs, and then I think on the turn, and then I think on the I think I had Jahmyr Gibbs and AJ Brown, and like they were dope. Because like when you're picking on the turn like that, it gives you the opportunity of getting like a really good receiver and a really good running back. That's what I like. That's why I've always been somebody that likes to pick on the bottom half of the first round, especially recently.
Yep. Jeremy,
yeah, dude in front of me ended up getting Jamar Chase, because you remember Jamar Chase fell a little bit because not a lot of people knew he was going to sign.
Well, in 2023 as well, like he was a frustrating own that year.
Yeah, so
was hurt all year.
He ended up getting Jamar Chase at 7, and then picked up Saquon, bro. I'm like, damn! Like on the turn, I was like, that's crazy. He won the league, to say the least. Yeah, so it was awesome for him.
Any CMC love, or is he cooked?
Cooked.
With CMC, like it's just a tough scenario because yes, I understand that he could genuinely be a league winner, but for me to feel comfortable drafting him where he's currently priced, he'll need to have a good offseason. This includes no rumblings throughout the building that he has like Achilles, whatever, that his Achilles is kind of starting to bother him. Last year, rumors throughout the building that like he's got something going on with his knee. So if we hear like good stuff from CMC, like, he looks great. He looks whatever. He looks the part, which, by the way, I mean, I don't even know what we can trust because the 49ers coaching staff lies about their players' injuries, and the beat reporters are probably some of the worst in the NFL, too, when it comes to that stuff. So it's really a wild card. But if all the news is good on the CMC front, then I'll feel fine taking him with where he goes. But, his best days are obviously behind him. It's just the nature of playing running back in the NFL and being 28, 29 now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I'm not taking him before the 3rd round, maybe even before the 4th. Like, I think 4th is when I would consider because, dude, there's so much risk. And if you take him in like the 2nd round and he just flops, it crushes you, dude.
Yeah, like you can't win your draft. You can't win your league in the first like however many rounds, but you can
definitely lose it.
You can definitely lose it. And if you hear rumblings about like CMC like not looking the same or CMC, his Achilles flaring up, you just cannot forego that news at all.
Yeah, I'd take Gentry over him.
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't take either. I don't know if I'd take either of them in the 1st round.
I'd feel pretty comfortable with Gentry in the 1st round as long as it's like the back end, because you look at the running back room that the Raiders have behind him, there's nothing. So
they're also historically bad at run blocking too.
Oh yeah, like I know that as far as like, but even if he catches like what, even if he gets force fed like what 5-6 targets a game and can take them for like 40-50 yards, like
Yeah.
in a PPR league, combining that onto what his rushing output will be. I don't know. I just think that Geno there will just make everything so much smoother.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're probably right.
Yeah, but as far as like fantasy, I mean, I can look at fantasy from a outside lens. If I look at them through a blue and orange lens, I could be like, Genty's not going to be that good.
Yeah,
You know, he's who are.
I had him at I had him at RB5 in my initial rankings that I did. Yeah.
Lamar or Josh, don't really have a strong preference either way. Like fantasy wise, they're both going to be elite. So whichever one's cheaper.
Josh Allen all day, and 2 times on Sunday. Just because he's so consistent. Not to say Lamar isn't, but Lamar is like he does have a little bit of those dud weeks, but he have the really really big weeks. Plus, I'm just not a really big fan of Lamar Jackson. I don't know why. Never really liked him. Always felt like he was the most overrated player in the NFL. Still do. So great for fantasy though.
Damn, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. I just think, listen, this is what it is. I don't want to seem like he sucks because he definitely doesn't. He's a phenomenal player, but he gets so much love and hasn't done anything. Like Josh Allen gets way more hate. It was like Josh Allen doesn't win shit. When is Josh Allen going to win nothing? People don't seem to ever say that much about Lamar Jackson. Maybe I'm just not seeing it, but I'm like, it's weird to me, you know. And I feel like his style of football historically doesn't win in the playoffs when it matters. He always seems to flop, and so yeah, I just think I don't know. I've always been a little bit more like I like the old school traditional type of quarterbacking, and if you can run, it's a bonus. That's why I love Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, those kinds of dudes, that kind of style. Bo Nix, of course.
It feels like Lamar, once he loses a step, he's going to fall off a lot harder.
Exactly.
Than Josh Allen will.
Exactly. Yep. Agreed. And like how much is being covered up, right? I mean, yes, he hasn't had the best receivers. I will say that. Like his weapons haven't been bad. But he's had an elite run game. He's an elite run. He's always had a good offensive line. He's got a solid head coach. The defense in Baltimore's, you know, typically pretty good. They started off pretty bad last year, but then they got it together. So it's like he's got all the things going, and he still can't win. So something's got to give.
It's a hard thing to do every week in the playoffs because the playoffs are just built for like making plays when nothing's there. And when everybody's expecting him to make plays the way he makes plays, and that's what they're keying in on, then he has to make plays in ways that he's not as comfortable doing it, where Allen can just drop back and then say, all right, well, I was going to run people over if I have to.
Yeah.
And I think there's just way more of an opportunity to be a dual threat when your main threat is still your arm.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and I mean, I get it. Like, the Mark Andrews drop was brutal, and it sucked for him. But he didn't play well that game. He hasn't played well really in a lot of postseason game, like in the playoffs. He's not the same Lamar Jackson because teams will be like, we're gonna sell out and do whatever the hell we can and have him not beat us with his legs. Yeah, and. Kind of how it goes. Brock or Trey McBride? I mean, it's got to be Brock, right?
Oh, for sure.
Trey McBride's a stud, but Brock Bowers is stupid, dude.
I mean, fantasy-wise, like, I don't know, if we're just looking at this from, like, I don't know, Brock did a lot of his really good work. Like, obviously, if you're deciding between which one you'd rather have for, like, NFL, it's Brock Bowers, because what he did last year was nuts. Like, just absurd. But I don't know. This is why it's interesting debating, like, fantasy, because you just have to weigh like all the additions of like Jack Bech and Genty and like having a quarterback that can actually competently hit the wide receivers now versus like, I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't really thought too much about that one.
I don't overthink.
Yeah. I mean, for the same reason, like to me, it's clearly Brock. and not because I think he's like so much more talented than Trey McBride because he's a stud too, but I trust Geno way more than I trust fucking little short man running around, you know. And then I don't really like Arizona's offense all that much, but like Kyler Murray, he's got his moments, but you got to think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to take a step up.
Mm-hmm.
They do run the ball a lot. They're like one of the run heavy teams. So his overall like target share, because Trey McBride made a living last year because I think he scored like 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah,
He was just a heavy, like it was heavy volume for him. So I think that's what you get worried about. If his volume goes down, which I expect for it to, it could really hinder his numbers. But I think both of them are elite tight ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, 147 targets, 111 catches, 1,100 yards, 2 touchdowns, bro. That's crazy.
That is crazy. I saw this tweet from DNVR the other day. Like, do you guys want Evan Ingram to get 150 targets this year?
No.
Yeah, I'm not really
really.
about that either. I just don't really think it's smart to funnel your offense through that kind of player. And also, he got 145 targets 2 years ago and still did not hit 1,000 yards. So I don't think. Yeah, I just don't.
Yeah, that was a really crazy year. I remember. I think I had him in fantasy that year.
Yeah, me too. And like in at least 7.
And it was
leagues.
like if it was PPR, he was fine. If it was a half PPR or a standard, you were fucked. He didn't do anything for you.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was in a tight end premium league that had him that year. It was 2 points per every tight end catch. Ejaculatory volume.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He'd have like 11 catches for 26 yards.
Yeah.
You're like, shit, fucking 30 points. I'll take that every week.
My favorite league, I also had Brock Bowers last year, 2 points per catch for tight ends. I still, like, the rest of my team completely fell apart, but like,
Didn't even matter.
Yeah.
That's a cool league. 2 points per catch for tight ends. I like that actually.
Yeah, because
Can you start 2 tight ends?
yeah.
Oh, so your flex is a tight end.
Yeah,
Nice.
I took Colston Loveland at the 102 this past year in my rookie draft to stack with Caleb. And then at the 105 I got Travis Hunter.
Dang,
Nice.
that's tight.
Yeah. 101 was
Yeah, 2 points per tight end catch.
It
That's
doesn't-
wild.
It doesn't like completely tilt it in the way that a lot of people would think, because tight ends don't really get that many catches, but what it does is it just makes the Bowers, the Kittles, the McBrides of the world just that much more worth.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
ideally for the DNVR question is, I think it would just be better if Evan Ingram was like the option where, not the main option, but the option of where like Bo is he's just hitting the open guy, right? Like, oh, Troy Franklin, oh, it's Vele, oh, it's Court, oh, he's jumping down to RJ Harvey, or RJ Harvey's running again, and then Dobbins is in. Oh shoot, and now Evan Ingram is running a slant for 20 yards across the middle, and like you just build. I don't want anybody to be like the guy who you feel like you have to feed. We did that last year with Court so much that it's like I honestly think we have the offense to just kind of, you can hit you at, you can kill you a bunch of different ways. So.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think what a lot of people don't realize too is he's just naturally going to allow for other guys to get their opportunities too, which is going to be nice. But
Exactly.
in a typical Sean Payton offense, just like we had said, it's going to be one pass catcher is going to get significantly majority of the catches, whether it's Sutton or Ingram. And then there's going to be a running back that gets a lot, and then there's going to be a second guy that gets like the timely ones, But like, yeah, I mean, looking back at like the Jimmy Graham days, if you talk about usage, I mean, if he can be, I think if Ingram can be healthy and like the Evan Ingram that we've seen play, I think he certainly can be the leading receiver in terms of catches and yards and touchdowns on the team. Because one thing you've noticed from Sean Payton is like, if he's the ultimate guy, the number one weapon, he'll just force feed him. I mean, Jimmy Graham's numbers are crazy. Like, yes, I think he's a better player than Evan Ingram, but I mean, a 1,300 yard season, 1,200-yard season, 16 touchdowns, 11 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 10. I mean, the guy was just eaten. So,
and if you go back,
he's shown.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you go back to Oregon to watch the way Bo hits, he just hits the open guy. So he's fine hitting Franklin, then going right next to his brother, then all of a sudden to Terrence Ferguson. So I just don't think that he looks the same way every single time, which he had to be last season.
Yeah. And, the Ingram addition will affect us in very positive ways. But, I've talked about this a lot this offseason. The run game, the lack of run game wasn't solely on the fact that the running backs were trash. It was, we didn't have an intermediate middle of the field passing game. Like none. It was diet Russell Wilson ball. Like where it was either a screen or a really deep shot. Like that was the way we produced a lot of our offense last year. Like our actual offense to the point where we could like put ourselves in scoring position. But also, I just don't want to funnel our offense through Evan Ingram. Like he is certainly a good complementary piece, but his average depth of target the past 2 years has not been above like 5.8. Mm-hmm. So he was quite literally like the check down option for the Jacksonville Jaguars for the past 2 years. And, it'll be interesting to see what role he's used in because I don't think he just caps out as a guy who you're targeting at 5.2 for the average depth of target, which is what it was in 2023. But once again, I just don't want him to be our number one target. Like I just don't, for just a lot of those reasons. Yeah. But that being said, if he finishes the year with like however many yards and a lot of them are yak and a lot of touchdowns, then I'll be like, hell yeah, I'll be excited.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so hard to predict because I feel like it's going to be such a, week by week matchup basis. Mm-hmm. That's what Sean Payton's proven that he's really good at doing is, he'll adjust to however the game flow is going, how the defense is playing, kind of to do whatever he feels like is the best thing. And giving him running backs that have the ability to make plays out of the backfield, like with JK and RJ in terms of like in the pass game, that opens up an entire new wrinkle for his offense too, and opens up so many other things. So it's going to be exciting to see.
Yeah.
No doubt.
RJ Harvey or Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, Pacheco, he looked absolutely finished last year because washed Kareem Hunt was the Chiefs' leading rusher, I think, last year. And the fact that Pacheco...
Didn't he break his leg? Or was that the year before?
I think he snapped his ankle. But he did that really early on. And I think he got back. I think he was back towards the end of the year, but he still was not the same player. And if you're not getting snaps over washed Kareem Hunt, I just don't know.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you're like, because both those guys I think are going to be like mid-round guys. I mean, Pacheco will probably go higher than RJ, but like, if you feel really good about your running back one, like let's say you get Jahmyr Gibbs and then you get a good, tight end or maybe a couple good wide receivers. And then as a running back two, I would say, maybe Pacheco, he's going to be like safe. He's got a little bit more of a floor. But RJ Harvey's got a crazy high ceiling, especially if J.K. Dobbins goes down. Then you're like, whoa. Exactly. So it's just a matter of kind of risk you want to take. And I'm in fantasy, I'm usually always going to go for the high upside. So.
Yep, swing for the fences for sure. Cortland versus Scary Terry. I mean, I'd be floored if they're even within the same range, but I mean, the Commanders didn't really do that much to add at their weapons, right?
You got Debo.
Well, he looks about 350 pounds.
Yeah. That's actually a really good question.
This is the only at cost thing, because if it's similar cost, then I would go Terry McLaurin all day. But like,
sure, yeah, me too.
Yeah, like if it's just if I could get Sutton like a couple rounds later or a round later than Terry McLaurin, then I don't know. That's a real discussion. But
those are two receivers in fantasy I usually don't like to draft. Like I'll take them if they're there, like if it's a good value. But because I feel like they're very safe, and I don't know, I don't usually like safe. I'll reserve the safe for like round 10 when I can get like I always blank out on names, but the starting receiver for the Raiders. what's his name?
Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers, somebody like that.
Yeah,
Like
he's
it's like,
good.
cool.
He's
Yeah,
good.
he's solid. He's good. He's gonna get you points. There's always like guys like that. But like Sutton and Terry McLaurin, both very good NFL wide receivers, they just go really high in fantasy, like a little bit higher than I'd like. It's like the difference between them and a guy, 12 spots behind them is not going to be that big of a difference. So just wait on it.
And
It's fun talking fantasy. I haven't done this in a while.
We added way more stuff to our offense.
Exactly.
And so even though Cortland is primed to have a good year, I don't just because he's going to have less.
Yeah, if we had the same weapons as last year, I would say easily Cortland because just the volume he's going to get. But
it'd be close.
I think that's going to go down a little bit. Booper Bup.
Cooper Kupp. Travis Hunter or Cooper Kupp.
I think Hunter.
I was about to say, curious to hear your guys' thoughts, but there's an easy answer for me here.
Yeah.
Take the upside again.
What are they going to like? Jacksonville is going to just feed him. Now, if you're worried about him getting hurt because he's a little thin, and he maybe is going to be playing two different things, but yeah, no, that's not.
Talk about somebody that's going to be interesting to watch in the preseason. That's going to be Travis Hunter, man.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see how they play him.
You think they're going to play him that much? I think they.
Well, you'll get an idea of how they're going to use him.
It'll be interesting.
Like if he comes out and he plays, 10 snaps on offense and 10 snaps on defense, you're like, oh shit, they're going to do it. Like,
I wonder if they should do like the first game of preseason, have him play offense, the second game, have him play defense, and then going into the season, you're not sure if they're going to do the same.
Or you put him like strictly at one position and then you start him at the other.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, yeah.
He's going to be fun.
They should put him at quarterback. Just fuck with everybody for like the first game.
But it'll be cool to have him in fantasy. Like, imagine he's like, oh, he had 9 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown and 2 picks.
I know. So crazy.
Yeah, but on Sleeper, they made an announcement saying you don't get like IDP, you don't get like points if you take Hunter and it's only offensive production that counts towards it. I mean, maybe some leagues have a setting towards it.
That's whack.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I get it because, when you're thinking about IDP leagues, like they have a whole like defensive whatever. If you get one guy who's eligible for defensive scoring and the others aren't, then I get it. And I probably
let's say you have a receiver and they put him back there for a Hail Mary pass coverage and he gets a pick. Do you not get the 2 points?
I don't think so.
I feel like you always get the 2 points. But then again, how are we going to know? I don't think we have any examples.
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, I could check. Then again, we don't have like a precedent. We don't have like a precedent of like guys who, I don't know, that's such a rare situation.
I don't like that. I think it's like he should be rewarded for being the freak athlete he is. Like you shouldn't be.
You know what was the best? I think it was last year, the year before I was starting Josh Allen, and he had a play where like he threw the ball, dude caught it, was going to get tackled, lateraled it back to Josh Allen, and he scored. He ended up getting the touchdown rush and the touchdown pass.
That's interesting.
That's fire.
Or maybe it was a touchdown catch. It was either one. But he got 2 touchdowns on one play. It's dope. I'm like, see? Can't take it away.
Did you guys think we were going to draft Jake Ferguson, and that's why we traded down in the second round? If we drafted a current NFL player, that would have been wild.
I think he meant.
Yeah, I know what he's thinking.
Yeah.
I think it was either him or Fannin, or one of them, one of the two, 100%.
I think Fannin was available later, but like I definitely think Ferguson was the target. I think they would have moved up for him. I think they were trying to angle. I think they wanted RG Harvey, for sure, but I think they probably thought if we could get both of those players in that similar range, we can like kind of double dip right in that spot. We'll trade back, get him, and then we'll trade back up to get. I think that was the thinking, and then he just went so early that it was like, okay, well, I guess not.
Yeah, I agree. I think they probably would have. I think they wanted. I'm gonna look back at the draft. I think they wanted either one of these 3. I think they wanted either Mason Taylor, Terrence Ferguson, or Elijah Arroyo. I think they wanted to get one of those tight ends. And the goal probably would have been like they take one of those and then they trade up to get Harvey. But instead, they all fell. and then we traded back. And then yeah, you're right. Harold Fanta ended up going in the 3rd round.
So I
So
gotta
it
say,
was Mason Taylor.
yeah, towards this comment, I don't think we traded back in the 2nd round because Ferguson was already off the board when we made our trade down. Like, we made our trade down while we were on the clock with Carolina. And even then, I was like, wow. Like, when we finally picked RJ Harvey, I was like, wow, all that just for that? But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think too, and there's also the Travion Henderson effect was there. I'm sure they probably liked him. But I mean, what were we originally picking even? I don't even
51
remember.
in the 2nd round.
51, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So it could have been like when Terrence Ferguson went at 46, we started making calls and then we just executed it, with Carolina after that.
I expect,
or especially because Elijah Arroyo did go at 50.
Yes, he did. We got sniped on
So
Arroyo.
we were probably like, ah, shit. So I think we would have liked to get one of the tight ends though.
I was expecting Ferguson to go in the 60, 70 range.
Yeah,
And
same.
everybody, when we were drafting on the 90s, I was like, I don't think he's going to be there. You're going to have to trade up. But to go in the 40s was like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess not. So
To the Rams too. He's gonna be good there, man.
Man, I should hit up his brother.
And I don't know if Eli's still listening, but Mason Taylor is gonna be. He was one of my favorite tight end prospects, man. I would have loved to have Mason Taylor. He's gonna be good.
it's too bad.
I can't believe it's almost midnight, dude.
Holy
we should
shit,
roll.
it is. Wow.
That's fucking crazy.
But don't worry about it because we got Loner. We'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
We got Loner, give me a boner, and don't forget about Prescorn, man.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that was my main complaint. Like, when the draft ended, I was like, we just didn't get enough at tight end. And I still don't think we got enough at tight end.
No.
But, like, I also said we didn't get enough at running back. And the Dobbins signing nullifies that because when I made my draft recap video, I said the only way that this is salvageable by not adding to the running back room is if you sign Dobbins because there's nobody else who could potentially be a difference maker in free agency who's available right now. Like, I didn't want Jamal Williams. Definitely didn't want Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, Victory Lap?
Yeah, what's up, brother?
Yeah, I mean, Caden Prescorn could definitely be completely irrelevant. That's most likely that's kind of probably what's going to happen. But he was a really nice late consolation prize because a lot of people said he was draftable, and we ended up getting him undrafted way later. So I was like, all right, it's another body. So I mean, that was cool, but you're absolutely right. We definitely did not do enough to address tight end. We're gonna have to get really lucky.
That's what's so hard about the draft is you go into it going oh, it's really deep. We'll be able to get one of these guys, and then just the way that it falls and the way that you go, oh shoot, Barron is there. I didn't expect that. So then it kind of throws a wrench into all your thinking, oh, hopefully we'll get Loveland or hopefully we'll get oh, now I'm blanking. Who's the other first round guy that
Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
Tyler Warren. Yeah, it's once that move kind of shifts to Barron, now you're well, we still need a tight end and a running back and the stuff we wanted. And we weren't expecting to do the Barron thing, but we can't pass on Barron. It's just, you kind of just have to be able to shift around, and that's what's tough about it. And it ended up being tight end this draft, but we did get the running back, and I do. After seeing what happened with the pass rushers, I didn't expect it to go pass rusher after that, but both they look good so far. So I don't know.
Yeah, and then everybody thought we took Pat Bryant too early. I don't, but then you think to yourself, all right, maybe they wanted to wait, but they're like, no, we're not waiting no more. This is somebody we got to take when we get a chance.
Yeah,
because they got screwed earlier.
But see, we took him too early based off of everybody's projections of where they thought he was going to go. But it's nobody was oh, you shouldn't take that player. Everybody's I would love to get that player. So it's we got the player. They didn't want to make sure.
And the best part is they're they should have gotten him in the 4th. And you're dude, not that big of a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
it's around.
And then you hear right away there was other teams that were sniffing around him that liked him as well.
Course.
And then as soon as he comes in, he looks awesome. So you're oh, yeah.
He is going to be awesome. That's why.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I did fall into the, we took Pat Bryant too early. I still do. It's not based off of anything. It's not based off, consensus or whatever. I just watched him and I just didn't see a third round dude. Like I didn't see that level of guy. I just thought there was just way too much messy stuff at the line of scrimmage that he didn't find a way to sift through. But I can respect the vision. Like I get the vision. It's not like Drew Sanders where when we took him and just like what, like why, I felt I was mad at the Sanders pick at the time. But with Pat Bryant, I can see what they are doing and I get why they like him. And I should have known. Sean Payton likes his ultra physical, like blocking, high effort wide receivers. And that's exactly what Pat Bryant is. So like, yes, is it like great value? I mean, as far as where he was on their board, like the only thing that matters was not where Pat Bryant was on Stock Exchange's board, not where he was on PFF's board, not where he was on the mock database board, but where he was on the Broncos board. That's the only thing that matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And George Payton hasn't given us much of a reason to like doubt his drafting abilities, so we got to cut him some slack. But yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of a run on receivers before too. Yeah. Jack Betch went, Kyle Williams went, Isaac Tesla went right away. So they're probably like, "Oh shit, here's the receiver run. Take the guy now."
Yeah, I think didn't I do like a who would you rather, Tesla or it was somebody? Who was the other one? It was somebody that was projected to go.
Kyle Williams, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. But
they went back to back.
They went earlier than everybody expected. But yeah, you're right. We should have seen it coming. I think for me personally, I was just like, oh, everybody's saying he's going to be like a 5th or 6th round guy. So I'll just like, they know more than I do. I'm not like spending my entire life dedicated to this. Yeah. So, and then when you see it go, you're like, okay, I should have. Yeah, that made way more sense than. And now that we've got him, I'm like, I don't feel like it's too early. Honestly, don't. I think he's going to be really good. So I'm fine with it.
All right. I'll reserve this question for Mark because I know there's a name that's in his head right now that T Fishes has just plopped down on us. First of all, hi T.
What's up, T? None of the above, by the way.
Yeah. I loved Martinez like as a late round running back. I really, really liked him. But here, spill your draft crush that you had at running back.
Yeah, I mean,
killing it now.
It's got to be. There's 2 of them that both went in the 7th round, and it shattered my heart that we didn't take any of them. And I want to make sure. Actually, we didn't end up. We actually did not take Loner before both of them, which is good.
Yeah.
But just still ridiculous. Anyways, Kyle Monangai, mark my words, he is going to be, by the end of the season, the starting running back in Chicago. Do they get anybody else besides the dude that Ben Johnson hates?
Roshan. They have Roshan, but like he's got
whatever. Roshan. Whatever. No, Kyle Monangai is a problem. He's going to be one of the funnest players to watch. I really, really wanted him. Obviously, I loved LaQuint Allen. He ended up going below as well. But yeah, Kyle Monangai, that one really killed me. You're right. The J.K. Dobbins signing kind of helped ease a little bit of that pain because you're like, all right, at least we know we're good. But man, I would have loved to have an R.J. Harvey, Kyle Monangai backfield. Just no one's thinking about tackling any of those dudes. He's a stud. LaQuint Allen would have been really fun in a Sean Payton offense. Liked both of them. I even liked Ricky White. They all went ahead of the Caleb Loner pick that I think we kept trading back. But
where'd Ricky White go? Seattle.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
He's gonna be a good player too.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit frustrating. But then like Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt, who a lot of people were talking about, he was the running back that went after. And then there was 2 tight ends later too. Luke Lachey, Malachi Mataveo. So, man, we really took a swing on Caleb Loner, and it's the right time in the draft to do it. But I'm not very optimistic, but we'll see. He's going to be fun. He's going to be a fun camp storyline too. Talk about
next year
somebody that literally just learned how to put on football pants.
Literally.
It's crazy.
I'll be watching some March Madness next year to see if I've got any insight on like our next 7th round pick.
Let's say Loner's really good. Like, let's say he ends up fucking taking the league by storm in a couple years. Not even now. Does it make you kind of lose respect for football players almost?
In what way?
No.
In a way of like, damn, you kind of just have to be really physically talented and you can make it.
No,
because you'll never hear about like, oh, This guy this guy played 4 games of basketball in college after just picking it up, and he got drafted in the NBA. Like, that doesn't happen.
The reason
It's
I
just
say
a weird
no,
position.
I don't say no to that I'll say no to that because you have these guys like Jelani Woods who have like a 10 relative athletic score, and they do fuck all in the NFL. Like they don't like succeed at any. Like LeBron said, "Oh, all these NBA dudes could play in the NFL." I'm like, are you sure about that? Being really athletic doesn't translate to the NFL. Like it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Obviously it helps, but
I think
yeah,
he's going to have a very specialized role because when he gets hit by somebody in the NFL, he's going to be like, I might just go back to taking 3-pointers. But I will say, to his credit, like the way it worked out for him, this is probably the best situation for him to at least try and be successful. Just given, like, Sean Payton has a vision for you, man. He's going to give you all the opportunities. Whether you're good at it or not is up to you, but he's going to get his chances. I mean, I can't think of any other team where he would go and you'd be like, oh, he might have a legitimate chance to compete because, like, we have the offensive scheme that fits him, but then aside from Evan Ingram, we don't really have anything. So he's going to get a lot of reps. He should get a lot of reps. He should play a lot in the preseason.
Yeah, he should. Like
he should play a lot. Like
we know what we have in
yeah.
Troutman. We don't really
Like
know what
every
we have
game.
like Ingram. Yes, we know, but we also don't. Adkins, we know what we have. Prescoring, we don't. Loner, I would throw him out there every single play.
Those guys should be playing 100 snaps, bro.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't see Loner being 20s, in between the 20s, good tight end at all for a while. I just think there's a lot to learn. And with the blocking, with everything else, I think maybe down the line he could get there. I think for the early part of his career, it's going to be red zone target and just go over there, throw a fade and moss that guy, and that's what your job is to do. But if he has the right feel for the game, then it can develop. I think he's in the good position, like you guys said, as far as he's not expected to go out and do anything other than that. I mean, even if
he was ragdolling dudes, according to Mace, at least that's what Andrew Mason was saying, and that would be crazy.
That would be nuts
because he could be just like one of those dudes that's just really freaking strong.
Well, look at Tyler Warren. Like, he was a quarterback, and then all of a sudden, 2 years in, now he's like the number 1 drafted. I guess he was the second.
He has a wrestling background too.
Right. It's just,
and like that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like taking wrestlers.
Yeah, they have really good balance and they're really strong, and they have really strong. They understand leverage.
But like Caleb Loner was just a basketball. It's gonna be It's gonna be It's gonna be fun to watch, man, for sure.
Maybe he is like just freakishly strong, like Gronk or something like that. But yeah, remember that film review I did? I did a film review for all the draft prospects, and I did Caleb Loner's basketball film.
Basketball review is fucking gold, dude.
I know. I could
so
not.
Good.
I was trying took everything in my power to not laugh while I was doing.
Oh, so good, and you were dead serious too. That's the best part.
I know. It was.
You're like, look at that form.
Yeah, I know. I was like, look at the way he takes this jump shot, and then I got this comment. It said,
he is a
basketball film tells us nothing to play about his ability in the NFL. I'm just like, come on, dude, have fun with it.
Yeah. And T Fish is talking about the same way you feel about Benanga is how I feel about Scatterbo. Yeah. Scatterbo, I think, is going to be pretty good. I mean, he was you're talking about a 4th rounder versus a 7th, though. It's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
Benanga's never fumbled in his career. Scatterbo had a little bit of a fumble issue, but yeah, I mean, Scatterbo is going to be fun to watch in New York too. I really came around to him. And also the way that Benanga pass protected. Dude, it really does. I really did fall in love with him as a prospect. He was like my baby. He was like my darling in the draft. I just love seeing guys that like they just love playing football, and you can tell he loves to play football. He would block somebody like they cursed his mom out, and he would just run through them, and it was awesome. Yeah, I'll be rooting for him. I might draft him in my last pick in fantasy.
There you go. Good. I love Scatterbo, but for some reason, him getting drafted by the Giants, it just has a feeling of like Peyton Hillis to me, where it's just like he's going to go in, he's going to have some unbelievable early years, and then he's going to wash out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just the Giants. I just can't be like see him being like long term, but I would have loved him. I just loved the way he played. I thought he was just like the
Yeah.
effort was insane, but yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
dudes just do not develop on the Giants either. That's
That's
another
what I'm
part
saying.
of it.
It's like where they go to die, kind of.
Yeah, the Giants are the new Browns. That's what I've been saying the past like few years, and they never do anything to prove me wrong.
Exactly. All right, I gotta roll.
Yeah, we got to roll, y'all.
I
think
Wow,
Midnight, we've
y'all
been
the
at
best,
this
man.
3 hours now on 2
Yeah.
shows.
Crazy.
But thank you guys for
Yeah, thanks for
Coming in.
sticking with us, man.
amazing.
Y'all have a great night, and
We'll see you next week.
see y'all next time.
Thank you. All right, subscribe
Peace.
to all our channels, and yeah,
Please
appreciate you, everybody
Yeah.
in the chat. T Fishes,
Later.
Victory Lap, Wabiki Jokic, Eli, anybody else that might be watching the replay. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
do. Yes, sir.
Maha
All right.
salute.
Later,
Yeah,
brother.
guys.
Peace.
Peace.